we are talking about event marketing and promotion. Do you have a particular template for marketing your event, generally, promotion-wise?
Yeah, basically there is a template. There is a template that you use whenever you want to market or promote an event. Which is number one, you have to ensure that there is a timeline. You have your timeline. There are different things, items on that template, which consist of the timeline, your the kind of audience that you are targeting. So the primary thing is to find out who your target audience are. So your target audience are the people that you have to create the content in marketing that particular event for. So you create the content that would engage them, that will benefit them, that would even give them ideas, give them full knowledge about what the event is all about. By the time you know your target audience, then you don't need to know where they are, where are they located. For various type of market audience, you find out that they are in different places. So from there, you know your timeline. So in the template, there is a timeline. You have your plots, you have the event plots, you have the framework for the event, you have your floor plan, you have everything, including also your timelines. So everything is in that particular framework so that you'll be able to follow it through without losing out on anything. And there is also the checklist in the framework. So the framework, there is a particular framework that you use for event marketing.
When it comes to marketing, whether it is the traditional one or the conventional one, that was what you were talking about. So I would like you to continue with your line of thought in this regard.
Okay, that's good. So there are I think you asked the question about what determines the tools you use. And so I then tried to separate between the traditional and then the digital conventional tools that you can use. So I would mention that for the traditional, you have the newspapers, you have the billboards. So what determines is the kind of tools you use is the kind of audience your event is target at. So for instance, if you have maybe a conference for market women, do you understand? You know that they are not on social media or on any conventional platform. You would want to do flyers, you want to do billboards, you want to do something that they can, tangible tools that they can hold, advertisement for advertisement, and then to be able to engage them, even one-on-one engagement. So for maybe for trade shows, for conferences, for different other things, maybe for a concert, you can then go into getting all your event, digital event platforms into those tools, and then they can help you. So there are different softwares. There is the event. They help you with organizing. They help you with promotions. They help you with marketing. Then you also have Eventbrite. Eventbrite is popularly used. So they help with also sending reminders. They help with getting tickets. Tickets is also another important thing to do if you for you to market and then to promote your event for a ticket. Then you need to be very, very intentional about the platform that you use if you are selling tickets. So if you are selling tickets, there are also other ticket ticketing platforms. You have the area ticket. There are various platforms that help you with your tickets. So you can even Eventbrite also help with tickets. There are different ones. Then you also have a Meetup. Meetup is an app. So they also help with ticketing, and then they also help in promotion. They also help in advertisement. Then there are various other softwares that you can use for promoting and then also for marketing your event. So basically, what really determines the tool that you use is the audience that you are looking out for.
Okay, Tony, you talked about traditional and digital marketing. You separated the two from each other. But is there a room for hybrid marketing where you incorporate the two together, both traditional and digital? Also, if there is, if you could tell us about the advantages and disadvantages.
Oh, thank you. Oh, so that is a very good question. So most people really nowadays they do the hybrid because, for instance, for different concerts now, the planning for December, you find out that it's already on social media now. But you also see them on billboards. You also see them on digital billboards. You'll see them at different areas just for sensitization, to be able to make people know that there is something coming up in December. Get ready, get your, as you're planning your finances, you get your money ready. And then you know how people then use early birds. So early birds is also another ways of ensuring that people then make payments early so that you can use that money to do some things for the event that is coming up. So majorly, there is the hybrid one. The hybrid one is very good. So the advantage of the hybrid is that everybody gets to see it. It's not limited to people on the digital space alone. You find out that people on a lot of people are not on social media, let's be honest. And we are 2 million people. Some people don't have phones. Some people have phones. Some people don't even use it.
Yeah.
Oh my, we lost connection with Twin Sanusi. All right, let's come back to the studio. Caroline is still here with us. She was talking about the blend of the digital and the tradition, where you now make it hybrid according to our line of thought. I would like you to share your thoughts in this regard. At what point, because he was trying to say some people are not even on social media, they don't even have access to phones. So at what point do you bridge the gap between this other end and the other end?
Okay, so she said something about flyers, which is also very key. Yes, we might say people are not on social media, but right now, I can tell you, even my mom is on social media.
Yeah, but there are people who aren't on social media. Yeah.
When we look at the ratio, there are not a lot. We have a lot of people on the space of social media. Those that are not there, they are not a lot. Yes, we have, but they are not a lot. So, but for those that are not a lot, we have ways in which we reach out to them. We could do flyers. She mentioned billboards. But I could tell you that most times I'm on the road, I don't even look at the billboards.
Why?
Because I'm on my phone. so that's the balance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for those that are not on the space of social media, we could give them flyers. But for wedding events or for events, not the corporate or the concert kind of event, where I can't print out a flyer for my wedding. So you have to most likely go physical to the people you want to invite.
Why can't you print out your flyer for your wedding?
A flyer,
Yeah.
those flyers that we share on there.
Yes.
A wedding flyer.
It's
Either you're doing an invitation card or or an access box card.
So it's not conventional for you to print. Yeah.
It's not part of your strategy.
It's not, no.
Okay.
All right, let's reconnect with Toyin. Toyin, glad to have you join us once again. I must appreciate your determination to be part of this discussion. We understand what is going on. So you were talking about how to bridge the gap between the conventional audience, the digital audience. You were making reference to people who were not on social media. And Caroline seems to differ from that. It appears majority of Nigerians are on social media. So I'd like you to continue your conversation in that regard.
Okay, so we have different age range, age gaps, and you'll find out that from 0 to let's say 19 or 18. Okay, let's say 15, because nowadays people 15 years old now have phones. You find out that so there is the 0 to 15. There is then the 15 to maybe 50 that are now on social media. They are actively on social media. Then there is a 50 to maybe 100 or 70. But even within that 15 to 50, there is a high percentage of people that are actually not on social media. They are in remote areas. They are busy with work. They are busy at work, and they may not even be. They may have the phones. They may have access to social media, but they may not be able to see what you're giving them to check through their phones to maybe a particular. You find out that even for posting of different content, you post at particular times of the day so that you'll be able to get people's engagement. If you post at some time of the day, you will not, you will, a lot of things will be lost online because other content would have then overshadowed the content that you've made. So because of that, people are now strategic about when they post their content online so that they'll be able to attract the target audience that they are looking out for. So I understand that a lot of people are on social media now, but we are 200 million people in Nigeria. And let's not just be blindsided to the fact that, okay, we're in Lagos and you find out that most of us are, we have phones, but a lot of people still don't have phones, sincerely. A lot of people don't have access to it. A lot of people don't have access to it outside of Lagos. A lot of people don't have access to it outside of Nigeria. If it's an international event, you find out that people even still go out of their way to make sure that they make a physical connection. That's why billboards are really making a lot of money. That's why people are still making billboards, lampposts, adverts. There are different ways that people. They are still skaters, still sharing flyers because you cannot just focus on social media. Social media is not the author and finisher of media promotion and event advertisement. A lot of events are done, and then you find out that there are billboards everywhere. If you can't, most times people don't just want to limit themselves to social media because we think everybody has seen it, but people haven't seen it. There are some events that I see on the road, on the billboard, and I didn't even come across it on the social media, on my social media platforms. Maybe because of the target audience or the I can't yeah. Maybe because of the target audience, maybe because of the ads has not been generated towards my own particular platform. So we just need to be sure that the advantage is that you don't lose out on anybody. iBridge is so good. You don't lose out on anybody. Even if it's a wedding, you still need to print out something physical for people to even use to come into your wedding. For, unveil is IVs are also unveils. They are traditional and people are still using it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Earlier on, Caroline talked about the skills an event planner needs to ensure success. So I want to duplicate or replicate that and ask, what does a marketer need to know? What makes a successful marketer? What strategies should a marketer employ to ensure success?
Okay, so for a successful marketing, the strategy that the person needs to know is, number one, know your target audience. Know your target audience. They may be family and friends. They are also your target audience. So number two is, where are they? Where are they? You need to find where they are. If they're in your environment, fine. If they're outside your environment, then you need to find them. Where do they stay? Where are they? Who are they with? Basically, who do they hang out with? Mostly if you have a friend or maybe a person in the midst of, if you have a target audience as a person who wants to then, you give the person a particular information, you find out that the person will be able to spread it among his own group, among his own people. So we also use the partnership of influencers. So that is another strategy that is really working for us nowadays for events, marketing, and promotion. Influencers are they are just lifesavers. You give them the information, they help you send it out, they own it. It's like a partnership. They own the space, they extend to their own sphere of influence. And before you know it, information, the project, because event marketing is all about planning and executing an event to promote a particular brand, service, or even a particular idea, and also a particular person. So it can be a person that you're promoting, can be an event, it can be a product. So if you can get an influencer that can help push that product, push that service, push that, make sure that the event is in the forefront of the people, and then they can then engage with it. It will be, it's a very wonderful thing to do, to get influencers involved, to get people involved. So the strategies that we use nowadays is also the strategy of knowing your market, knowing the people, getting them involved with it. And then all this, as we spoke earlier, we spoke about the softwares and then the software tools. So we need to know, okay, what software tool is involved that is important for these events to be successful. So I had an event earlier. The last event I had was a product launch for a makeup brand, and we know that we're looking for makeup artists because they are the ones that would buy. Though generally people use these makeup products, individuals use the makeup products, but it is the makeup artists that use them most, and you find them on Instagram. So finding them on Instagram, we need to find make adverts that would promote adverts to social media, makeup artists in that line. So those people then help with ensuring that we are able to get them into the room. So we're able to get them into the room. All the makeup artists, they registered. We make sure that they're registered. We send them further information about what the product is, who they are going to be meeting, what they are going to be engaged with, what they need to do, what they need to know about the product that is coming up. And then when they got into the room, we engaged them. We did the swapping, testing of the brand, testing of the colors, the shades rather. And then we engaged them on all the fronts. And even after the event, we then continued the promotion of that particular brand. So event marketing is just so important to be able to push. You find out that most people launch their events, their brands with an event because they need to help. The event helps to push out that product, push out that service, push out that person, and then it makes it a beautiful thing. Basically, so that's the strategy for marketing. You need to just ensure that everything is in place. All the people, the target audience, the places, even the venue, the kind of venue you use is very, very important. So every event that we do, we ensure that the venue is an accessible place. So that's also another strategy for marketing the product, because everything about the event determines if the product will sell or not, if the service will sell or not, if the people will sell or not, if the event will be successful or not. So if you go into a shabby event venue, it just changes everything. It even reduces the quality of the way people see that product or the way people see that service.
All right. Let's talk about the issue of budgeting. Event marketing and promotion involves money. Now, for a newcomer, someone who's just coming into the industry, is just starting the business, maybe with little capital, what's your advice to this person who do not have much? And then I would like you to talk about the fact that how much can you spend when it comes to marketing and promotion? Can it be expensive? How much is too much, if I may put it that way? Then when it comes to budgeting, how do you handle that in a way that you'll be able to get the required result?
Okay, so I really like the fact that you said the money, how much the person has, can it determine how far the promotion goes? Yes, actually, money is so important. Money is very important, but for newbies, we would also engage creativity. Creativity is actually is the best currency ever. It's the best currency ever. There is a way that be creative with the marketing that it would just everybody knows about it. You can just make sure that with minimum budget, you can make a skit, a funny skit, and then before you know it, people start to share. So you don't even need to you don't even need to spend so much money on adverts. So people start to share. You have to sit down, carve out this, strategize about, okay, how do we want this to run? How do we want this to go? What do we want this to, who do we want this to reach? And because you do not have that large sum of money budget for the event marketing, what you then do is to find the most creative way. Do we do a skit that is so funny that people would share by themselves? You know, when people see very engaging content online, they are very prone to sharing it by themselves, even without you asking them, please share. They share it just because it's funny, or just because it's educative, or just because it's insightful. They help you share it just like that. And then before you know it, you're reaching a lot of people that your money cannot even reach. So number one is creativity. Number one is creativity for someone that is just starting. You have to be creative about who you want to reach out to, how you want to do it. And then also, there is also the fact that you need to also be able to minimize your budget to your ideas or what you want to do to the budget that you have in mind. So for instance, okay, so I'm now going into the event itself. So when we go into the event itself, there is also the human relations, social network. So there is a social network that also helps with, you know, if you find somebody that can help you, you tell the person, okay, I'm just in this for the first time, we're just starting, can you help us with promotion? So we have a lot of people helping with partnership in, maybe they bring out the product, then we just help them, put them on the brand walls, and then their brand is there. They help with different things, items for the events, do some things for free for the event, and then we highlight them, we thank them, we give them all the publicity on that event that they can at least serve as the money payments for particular service that they render for the event, so the success of the event for the client. So all these things, you find out that you need support, sponsors. So we can get sponsors, people to sponsor. It also helps with cushioning the effects for budgeting. So sponsors help with a lot of things. The sponsors can give food, can give items, can give freebies. So those sponsors would help with cushioning some part of. So there was an event I had. It was done it was a social networking event in commemoration with the Women's Day in March. And we did it in a restaurant. And the restaurant helped with, they reduced the cost of their food for us. And then we were able to use the space for no cost at all, but we just had to buy food. But even with everything, it's less than what we would have spent if we had used a venue and then had to pay for the venue and then had to pay for the food. So a newbie, a new product or new service provider can also use that. They can get sponsors, they can get people to partner with them, they can get people to help with one thing or the other, but you need to ensure that you encourage them, you put them up on your brand, you ensure that you thank them, you ensure that you show them off, you ensure that you publicize them also, thank them for helping you, put them up and let people know that these people are doing this kind of thing. So that is, the two ways of, working for each other and helping everybody to grow.
Okay, very comprehensive. I want to come back to Caroline here. So it's not as if you're just watching. Thank you for still staying with us here. I want you to react to what Toyin has said. Out of all the recommendations she's made, what has made the most impact to you as one of the major players in the industry? She talked about the use of influencers and all of that.
Your marketing strategies, what has been of most productive, of great impact and result to you? I think she talked about the social media thing.
Social media,
that's
yes.
where she's getting more results. According, she
Right.
made reference to that earlier.
Yeah, there's more results on social media. So then for influencers, so when she made mention of influencers, I smiled because these influencers are still on social media. These influencers that you give to market your brand to, because they're the ones that create content. So they have, it's almost like all these kit makers. They're the ones into the influencing space. So they create a content around your business. They create a relatable content that's, even if I'm not into event planning, I can just post it. But I'm already passing the message across to millions of people. So, but these influencers are still on the social media space. And they're still doing all this posting on either Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok. It's still on the social media space. So for me, social media is still, yes, we have people that are not there, but your target audience, like she said, also matters. If you're targeting more of the youth, the teenagers, social media is the best because a lot of these people are on that space. Even the small children, the teenagers now, they now have phones. Even if they don't have phones, they have friends that have phones that they're always on the phones together. So if your target is the youth, teenagers, social media is your best bet. If it is the elderly people that most likely may not be on social media space, so physical IVs or sharing of flyers is also another go-to. But there are still some people that don't even know how to read. So some people you share these flyers to are not even able to read what you put inside. So those category of people is where you can now do awareness. So most times you either do a street awareness. So she mentioned market people now. So if I want to have an event in markets, I know that majority of these women are not on social media space. Majority of them are not able to read and write. So I create awareness. I take van with people, we wear a costume of the program, a colored costume of whatever we are planning to do in the market. We all go there and we speak. And when you're speaking to, remember that it's not everybody too that understands English. So you need to have people with you that understands Hausa, people with you that understands Igbo, and people with you that understands Yoruba. So for that space, that's how you manage them. So your target audience is still your target audience is still the one that determines how you're able to reach out to them. If you are working with the young ones, you know you have to work more on social media, work more on the influencers they like. So it's not every celebrity that is an influencer, or it's not every social person that is an influencer. Some people don't know how to carry their audience, and there are some that if whatever it is they say, you definitely want to go to the page of who they are talking about because of how they placed it. So when you work with influencers that are in line with your content goal, in line with what you are aiming to achieve as regards advertisement and promotion and marketing, then you use them.
All right, let's go back to Tony now. I'd like you to talk to us about your personal experience, and I'll put this to you. In recent times, have you had cause to argue with your client when it comes to marketing strategy? There are clients who want a particular strategy, yet you know it won't give the required result. How did you manage that, and who usually should determine the strategies to deploy? Is it the event planner, the client? What's your experience in this regard?
Okay, so majorly because of you are planning an event for a particular product or for a particular service to promote it as a brand, the person to look out for that to determine it is the event consultant, basically. But there are ways where you then find out that okay, the client has to also has a say in it because they are the ones with the ideas, they are the ones with all the plans. They are the ones with the creativity. So for me, I'm trying to remember an event that had happened. But basically for me, I do not argue with my clients. I always just find a common ground with my clients, basically. So okay, so I'm not going to disclose the name because it is not, there is privacy.
That's fair enough.
I won't disclose the name of the clients. I'll just use the client. So we were planning for an event, and so we got some sponsors. We got some sponsors, different sponsors, like high network sponsors, and they. So we had to. So everybody wanted to brand. So we already had our mood board already set up. I'd worked on the mood board, not even the mood board, the floor plan. Already the measurements, everything has been measured, everything has been sorted, everything has been already in place. So every space had its branded item. Every space, everywhere you look at in the room, there was a brand that covers that space. So then we had a major sponsor, and the major sponsor thought it was a partnership. So there was a misunderstanding in between, and it was between the my client, and then the sponsor, my client and the partner, or as the case may be. So it was a misunderstanding between the client and the partner, of which I was not involved in the conversation. It was aftermath of the conversation. So they were talking to the partner, to the sponsor, behind my back. So at that particular point, I wasn't communicated to about what the interests of the sponsors are. So I then worked on a particular thing. I had already spoken to them. We had spoken, but there were other conversations that was going on behind my back. And then on the day, we had already set up everything, and then the sponsors came and said, "Oh, we have this. We had sent it on the drive," and I was telling them that this is not acceptable, because this has already been planned, and this had already been agreed upon. We had agreed that the measurements for all your branding will be this particular measurement, and this is the space that is available for them. So there was a lot of back and forth. This person saying, "Oh, that's not what they envisioned." I was saying that this is what I have already written, and then I've passed it on to the clients. I've passed it on to everybody that needs to see it, and then there is no miscommunication. Anything that was done behind my back wasn't supposed to be done, wasn't supposed to be because that is like a three-way thing now in communication. So at the point how we resolved that was we had to compromise. So compromising at times it's good, at times it's bad. One person wins, one person loses. And in compromising, we then look at it. So what is the best way to go around this? So we then say, okay, we're going to remove a particular thing, but compromising should not reduce or remove the quality of the event. So we ensure that all that we did not reduce the quality of the event, did not reduce any particular thing that would make the event to fall down the crack. So everything we then did was to be able to balance it out and then come to a common ground. So we then said, okay, if you have 5 branded items, can we use 3 branded items out of the 5? Can we use 2 items out of the 5, so that we can then, everybody then comes on a platter, and we agreed on it, and then the event went on as beautiful as we planned it.
I'm glad you were able to find a common ground with your client. Yeah, so I'd like to ask, does the kind of event you're planning determine the kind of marketing strategy you will employ?
Yes, totally. The kind of event planned determines the marketing strategy, because there are different type of events. I think I mentioned earlier, you have the trade shows, you have conferences, you have the parties, social parties, you have social network events, you have trade fairs, You have product launch, book launch, different type of things, and all of it, even weddings and birthday parties, everything. So everything is determined by what type of event you're doing. So a particular event that you do can be able to help you with determining the planning, determine what audience, what people, what kind of people, where to even have it. So if you know that your target audience, maybe for the book launch, they are children, you then have it maybe in a store, a bookshop, or in a library, or in a place where you know that is accessible for people to come into. If it's a product launch, what kind of product are you talking about? Who is going to be using that product? Are they people in the offices? You need to ensure that you get into those places. For instance, I mentioned the makeup products. There are makeup associations, makeup groups, makeup support groups. You need to, there are people that are influencers in the makeup space. So all those things really determine what you do. The type of event determines everything.